In the early 13th century, Baghdad was no ordinary city. It was the heart of the Islamic world, a jewel of knowledge, art, and wealth. Scholars from every corner of the globe came to its libraries. Poets sang in its gardens. Merchants filled its bustling markets. To many, Baghdad was not just a city, it was a dream made real. But in the distance, far beyond the mountains and deserts, a storm was brewing, a storm so fierce it would erase centuries of glory in a single moment. The Mongols, nomadic horsemen forged in the harsh lands of the steppe. Under Genghis Khan, they had risen from obscurity to conquer empires, and though Genghis himself had long passed, his grandsons were determined to carry his vision to the ends of the earth. One of them was Hulagu Khan. Hulagu had a mission. Sent by his brother, the great Khan Munka, he was ordered to march west and break the power of the Islamic world. His path of destruction would lead him to the gates of Baghdad, the very heart of the Abbasid Caliphate. At the time, Baghdad was ruled by Caliph al-Mustasim, but while his city sparkled with wealth, the Caliph himself was unprepared for the storm that approached. He underestimated the Mongols, believing Baghdad's prestige alone would keep him safe. And so, while Hulagu's army of perhaps 150,000 warriors marched west with siege engines, engineers, and merciless resolve, Baghdad remained complacent. The Caliph ignored warnings. He dismissed allies. He trusted that no one would dare touch the seed of Islam. He was wrong. By late January of 1258, the Mongols encircled Baghdad. Towers of wood and stone rose against the city walls. Giant catapults, capable of hurling stones heavier than men, were placed into position. Hulagu's forces sealed every escape, trapping nearly 1 million people inside. The stage was set. The jewel of the world was about to face its darkest hour. And what happened next would change history forever. On January 29th, 1258, the Mongols began their assault on Baghdad. The proud city, protected by towering walls and surrounded by the Tigris River, had withstood threats before. But this enemy was different. Hulagu Khan's army was disciplined, ruthless, and armed with the deadliest siege technology of its time. For days, massive catapults hurled stones the size of boulders at Baghdad's defenses. Walls cracked, towers crumbled. Inside, panic spread. Citizens who once strolled through markets filled with silk and spices now huddled in fear as fire and stone rained down from the sky. But the Caliph made a fatal mistake. Instead of rallying allies or leading his people in defense, he hesitated. His advisors urged different strategies. Some begged him to negotiate, others to fight. Paralyzed by indecision, al-Mustasim sealed his city's fate. The Mongols advanced relentlessly. Day after day, they battered Baghdad's walls, until finally they breached. Hulagu's forces poured into the city like a tidal wave of steel. And what happened next was not battle. It was slaughter. For a week, Baghdad became a city of screams. Men, women, and children cut down without mercy. Some historians estimate that hundreds of thousands perished. The Tigris River itself ran black with the ink of destroyed books and manuscripts thrown into the water, and red with the blood of Baghdad's people. This was not just the fall of a city, it was the death of a civilization's soul. The House of Wisdom, one of the greatest centers of knowledge the world had ever seen, was reduced to ruins. Works of science, literature, and philosophy, gathered over centuries, were lost forever. And what of the Caliph, al-Mustasim? He was captured and brought before Hulagu. Some sources say Hulagu mocked him, demanding why he had not used his immense wealth to defend his people. What happened next remains shrouded in legend. Some claim the Caliph was rolled up in a carpet and trampled by horses to avoid spilling royal blood. Others say he was starved to death, forced to watch his empire crumble before him. Whatever the method, one truth was certain. The Abbasid Caliphate, once the beacon of the Islamic Golden Age, was no more. In a single month, the Mongols had destroyed what had taken centuries to build. The jewel of the world had been shattered. When the fires finally died down, Baghdad was unrecognizable. The grand palaces, the vibrant markets, the shining mosques, all reduced to rubble. The city that had once been the center of art, knowledge, and power was now a graveyard. Chroniclers of the time wrote that the Tigris River ran black with the ink of destroyed books and manuscripts thrown into the water, and red with the blood of Baghdad's people. The House of Wisdom, the greatest library of the Islamic Golden Age, was gone. Centuries of discoveries, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, poetry, were lost forever. Humanity had taken a step backward. For the Mongols and Hulagu Khan, it was a victory that echoed across the world. They had destroyed the mighty Abbasid Caliphate, a power that had stood for over 500 years. To the Mongols, it was another empire crushed beneath their hooves. But for the Islamic world, it was a catastrophe. The Abbasids had been more than rulers. They were a symbol of unity. Their fall left the Muslim world fractured and vulnerable. And yet, history has its way of surprising us. Though Baghdad lay in ruins, the Mongols did not go unchallenged. Within just a few years, their advance into the Middle East would be checked at the Battle of Ain Jalut in 1260, where the Mamluks of Egypt stopped the Mongols for the first time. It was proof that even the most unstoppable force could be resisted. But nothing could undo what had already been lost. The Golden Age of Baghdad was over. What remained was a shadow of its former self, a scar on history that still haunts us today. The Mongol Siege of Baghdad was more than a military conquest. It was the destruction of knowledge, culture, and memory. One of history's brightest lights was extinguished in a single month of fire and blood. And so, we must ask, what would our world look like today if Baghdad's wisdom, its books, its science, its culture had survived?